think that was the shortest time since I've taken it with the damn record button.
I
Are you
agree.
not prepared?
and we're live. This is Uncoachable. Thank you for finding us. I'm Coach Patrick. As always, that's Coach Lance.
What's
Coach,
up?
how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Coach Logan?
Doing good, thank you.
We got a special treat for you guys tonight. I am so excited about this. You have no idea.
You should have heard. You should have heard him. He was literally. He called me up the second anything happened, and he's like, do.
I'm flattered. With that old coot, finally I got him. I'm gonna run his. Just I hope he walks out in front of me. I got him finally after all these years.
If you guys recognize that voice, that's John Marx, longtime columnist for the Rock Island Argus Dispatch.
35 years.
Wow.
I know. I was a busboy at the Last Supper. You don't remember the tablets? Yeah. Fred Flintstone and the tablet? Yeah. That's when I started.
It's a special treat for me because if anybody ever has a chance to do this, when you decide that your innings are over and it's time to start giving kids innings and you have no more at-bats, go find your old high school coach, and I want you to tell him I'm sorry. Because I get everything that you've said to me over the years. I get it all. I'm mad at myself now because I'm like, oh my, I was such a
jackass.
Oh my. Like,
yes.
There's a reason we call this podcast Uncoachable. I mean, for God's sakes.
Actually, you weren't, even though, and I got an opportunity to coach you in two sports. So,
yeah.
You weren't. So give yourself a break. But we will. I mean, yeah, it took occasional prodding, electric or whatever. You know, some days you just, I get it. But you guys, that's the greatest point you can make. And I cannot emphasize this because Jim Murphy was Bob Carroll who's now struggling health-wise and he's in his 70s and he was a great athlete and a great coach at Allman. And he moved on. And I'm as a senior, I got the opportunity to play for Jim Murphy, who, if you know anything about the game and anything about the Quad Cities, maybe arguably the greatest high school coach. He coached American Legion baseball. He coached at Iowa State. He's been a scout. He's knows people at the pro level. He's just an amazing guy, and I was his biggest hemorrhoid. I swear, fellas, and it took me. I mean, it took a while to realize that he was just trying to help. He wanted to change a couple things. He didn't need to. I thought he was trying to change the world.
Yeah.
And he didn't have, and I fought him tooth and nail, and I didn't realize till 5 or 6 years later, man, A, he knew the game. B, he only cared about me. That's the bottom line.
And that's the thing that I'm starting to get is I knew it when I was growing up. I knew when they stopped yelling at you, that's when they've given up on you.
That's the perfect point.
And now I'm getting a fuller understanding of it now that I'm the coach.
Right.
I'm saying, I know that I was the type of player that needed my ass kicked, and we've gone over that before.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some kids that need a spoonful of sugar and a hug. I was one that you needed to tell me that I was a worthless piece of and get out of my face, and I was going to show you that you were wrong.
But you had skills. That's the thing. And I don't think, and here, we won't get into this, Dr. Phil isn't going to show up. But the thing of it is, you never realized, as skilled as you were, you never give yourself enough credit. Now, whether it be on a baseball diamond or on a football field, you're pretty good at both, and you just never gave yourself, because we were always in, someone was always in your ear. And once in a while,
including myself.
And yes, and sometimes we are our worst enemy. But all you needed was an occasional swift kick, and it dawned on you. Yeah. And I missed many, many times with that swift kick.
Yeah.
And, but no, you had skills, and you cared about your teammates, and you cared about the game, and you cared about playing. I don't think you, at 15, 16, 17, ever gave yourself enough credit.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that, I see 6-year-olds that, you try to work on basic stuff with them, and then you tell them, don't catch the ball with your palm to the sky, and then you're trying to throw a ball and not hit him in the nose with it, so you don't get enough on it, and then he has to go down and catch it. And
it's the only thing to save him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I see the look of utter joy he has on his face, like, oh, I caught it, and then, oh crap, I'm gonna get yelled at because I just caught the ball the wrong way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's you guys are all dealing with young people. are we throwing too much at them at 6 years old, at 7 years old? Again, it's a different place and time. I understand the game today. I understand the need for kids to be involved. But at 6 years old, I'm playing in the park with my buddies. I'm at Old Horseman Field on 38th Street in Rock, or 37th Street in Rock Island. There's a pickup game. At 10 years old, there's 2 pickup games before we play that 9th game.
Right.
And it's, and after we're done, or in high school, we do something athletically that's not school related or team related. And then one sport, it might be football in the morning, baseball at 6 o'clock, and then you run to Stevens Park, or you go to Longview Park and you play basketball, or Hero Street and get in a tougher game.
Yeah.
And play, and seriously, and then they really challenge, and you play basketball till it's dark.
Yeah.
Or the lights come on and no one can see your jump shot anymore.
Yeah.
But we've kind of gotten away from that a little.
You're absolutely right. I remember playing into the wee hours of the morning. My parents had to yell at me to come in just because we had a basketball hoop on the driveway.
Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah. And now kids aren't doing that. They're in playing video games rather than outside running around and scraping up their knees.
One of the biggest complaints my father, or anytime we had a house, and where Taco Bell is on Rock Island, 38th Street.
38th Street.
Okay, our house was right there, and there right next to it was a huge field, and then there was a church on a corner. This is when I grew up. We lived in a big white house right there, and my brother and I would play fungo fly ball, and my dad must have paid for 100 church windows. Got him again. And the pastor on Sunday night would come over and hand my dad the baseball and expect to get the cash in the other hand because his not too bright son hit the. But I thought, I just left the house.
A church walking out with their hand out. Sorry, you've heard this one before.
Yeah. But that I thought badge of honor, and it was actually
Rite of
$6.
passage.
Yeah, $6. My dad did. I don't think my dad minded partying with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If they're out there doing that, I wouldn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Great point.
You heard that old story about Ken Griffey Jr. where he would be busting windows out, and his mom would be yelling at him. His dad goes, "Hey, you can't teach that swing."
Shut up. Let him bust up what he wants to. Yeah.
600 home runs later.
Yeah, exactly. And the hat backward in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know how I am about you know what? I think I got to let him slide there.
Yeah. Just tuck your shirt in.
Yeah.
No, he didn't even do that.
No.
He didn't even do that.
No. But one of the good guys in the game.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There are,
Yep.
and I can give you a list of names. But he is was one of the best guys ever to be around. He got his work in. He had time for everybody. There were guys that aren't that way in the game, and he was the exception to the rule.
Yeah, and that's the sad part is he is the exception to the rule, and
especially in today's world.
Yeah, they say never meet your heroes, like Randy Johnson, one of the biggest asses in the game ever.
And now he's great point. Biggest jerks ever to be around the game. Now he's a professional photographer shooting sporting events. Yes, and he's an auto race. Auto race photographer freak. He shoots all the NASCAR stuff on the West Coast. He goes everywhere.
Wow.
Now he understands what it's like to be on the other
Yeah,
side.
after yelling at cameramen his entire career.
Don't touch me. Don't talk to me.
Don't talk back to me, all right?
Don't back. Okay.
Knock it off.
Yeah. You know what? You're 6'10". A single leg takedown, I'll bite you right in the face. You ain't that tough, big boy. You're a left-handed pitcher. If you're tough, you'd have played first base. So
Right?
Yeah.
I often wonder about that myself. Griffey's the reason a lot of people our generation fell in love with baseball. And
great point.
I wonder about that. Like, who's going to carry on that mantle to
Trout.
Yeah, I mean,
Trout's
but,
Trout
but
is
look at the difference.
unnoticed.
But yeah, look at the difference between Trout and Griffey. I mean, Griffey had a personality. He had that swagger about
They're
him.
not allowed to anymore. That's the
that's
problem.
just
We
it.
say be real, be real, be real, and then they're real, and then we condemn them. For it.
Yeah.
And the
Mike
closest
Trout is one of the good guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a great
guy.
Great guy,
Yeah.
but
No
he
doubt.
just goes unnoticed. He plays.
Isn't that crazy?
He plays for the Angels.
Well,
He plays for the Angels. So who's watching him?
Nobody. Well, everybody at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's
Who has the MLB network.
Yeah.
And Mike Butcher is a dear friend of mine. So I'll watch the Diamondbacks games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a pitching coach. And when he was with the Angels, that's the only reason I ever watched anything MLB-wise was because I could catch. He'd always do something. Tell my son, hey, there's a buddy of mine. That's him standing up on the and which is cool until you take your son to meet him, and then it gets. And Albert Pujols like it's really cool. So but then Dad, you got a little pull here? Yes, but that's just the way it works. But
that guy used to be really good.
yeah, really good. You know why your dad was a Cardinal fan? But Trout, you're right, unrecognized. But he would rather be that guy that's in the background, even as great as he is. And Griffey wasn't afraid to be in the forefront. But as great as Mike Trout is, he doesn't want to be that guy that's standing out front.
He's not Bryce Harper.
Great point.
He doesn't want to step on the first baseman's ankles when he grounds out to short.
Right.
He wants to try to beat it out.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Aaron Judge has grasped, even though he's got there were more foul balls in play last year than balls that were in play in baseball. And it was a world record for strikeouts. Nothing drives me nuts more in the game than a strikeout.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
And I understand 23 million. I understand 31 million. I get it. I get I don't get launch angle. We could spend a whole week on that, fellas.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So it drives me nuts. But here's another guy. Trout doesn't want to be that guy. Judge wants to be that guy. There are a handful of others that don't mind being the face. But I'd like to have Mike Trout be the face of the game.
That's what I would want to see.
I mean, you see those two guys in the middle of a lineup, and you're going, how many strikeouts can two guys have in one lineup? 200.
It used to be if it was 100, you better have had 115 walks to go with it.
Right.
Reggie Jackson was the exception to the rule. Now you get 200. You get punched out 200 times. That's good. You get 30. You hit 30 bombs and drive in 100, and you hit 206 or 214. What did Harper hit last year? 214.
I think it was 237.
Okay.
He came back towards the end of the year.
His second half, he had a very good second half. His first half was just garbage.
Not a fan.
Usually after you win the home run derby, your numbers go down. He actually was able to kind of an anomaly.
He kind of revamped his he revamped his approach is what it ended up being. I was reading up on it, listening, watching something on it, and he revamped his approach rather than trying to hit the ball out because of all the shifts. You started hitting the ball the opposite way.
Which for a left-handed hitter, the shift is kryptonite.
Oh, it is.
I mean, it's because if it's a right-hand hitter, you the first baseman, there's a gap because you still need the first baseman. But if it's a left-hand hitter, you don't need the shortstop.
No.
So now you're minimum 3 with pitcher on that side, and then you bring in you're moving the second baseman out and bringing the left fielder over and the center fielder up and over. It's like hitting.
Yep.
And it's so weird how the game has changed because you talk about the strikeouts driving you nuts, and I'm on board with that too. But the thing about it is Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, those guys, they used to fight each other if they gave up a hit when they got up 0-2 or got 3-0 on a hitter. They used to fight each other as a pitching staff.
Isn't it beautiful? 3 guys that could throw it anywhere.
Oh.
Pick a dot on the table in front of us, and they'd spot it up. That's
From
the beauty.
60 feet 6 inches away. They put it anywhere they wanted to. It was awesome.
Glavine was 89. Maddux was, when he came up with the Cubs, was 92, 93, which was lightning back then.
Yeah.
But then he had to learn how to pitch as soon as guys, A, caught up, and B, he got older. Smoltz was 91, but they had sink. They knew how to cut the baseball. They could make the ball back up. And
Maddux says the reason I'm a millionaire is I can put the ball wherever I want it. The reason I have a beachfront estate is because I can change speeds. Okay.
Yep. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And today, 97. It's 97. It's straight. If you can catch up, good. Big league hitters, if you shoot it out of a cannon, or they're gonna make contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you have a little sink and a straight change. Guys buckle with breaking balls nowadays because of launch angle and high leg kicks. Straight change. Every left-hand hitter, that's kryptonite again. Ask Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Cub fan. And then, you can sit dead red, but eventually guys learn how to get you out.
Yeah, and it's the ebbs and flows of the game. If you're paying attention, like you can see a guy like Toyoshi Wada from the Cubs a couple years ago was 89, left-handed, working at the top of the zone.
Yep.
And no one could hit him because everyone was so enamored with getting the ball down because the ball down stays in the ballpark. Well, they learned how to hit that ball out. Now you could work at the top of the zone and no one knew how to hit you.
Are you a launch angle group?
No.
Thank you.
Here's the thing.
I won't coach it. I won't coach it at a young level because I don't think it's necessary. I won't coach it even until I don't know if I'd even coach it, but I don't know. Like I'm not against it because all it's showing a hitter is that is kind of the trajectory you need to hit it in order to hit it out.
I
want solid contact. That's all I want.
Hit ball hard, you win.
Yep.
Exactly. Topspin is a beautiful thing in this game.
Oh yeah.
I am maybe as a Cardinal fan, I might be the biggest Joe Madden fan, having dealt with him when he was working with the Angels every day. Probably the smartest guy as for swinging the bat that I've ever sat down and listened to.
And your vantage point from the other dugout allows you to do that.
Yep.
From when he's in my dugout, he frustrates me because he overmanages every situation in the postseason.
Yes.
No, and I get that. Yeah. So you struggle with him, and I get it. Maybe they could have won a little more. I don't know. They almost lost the World Series because he overmanaged.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
the
reason that they won that NLCS that took him to the series is because Dave Roberts overmanaged him.
Overmanaged himself.
Yeah.
I'll see yours and
Yeah.
raise you a couple dumb moves. But it's just I'm okay with a level swing, and a finish, and a little top spin to it, and getting your hands inside the baseball and driving it. I really struggle with guys that just have to dip on the backside to get the ball in the air.
Well, these guys, it's the understanding of teaching children, which is what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
People don't get it. They look at this stuff and they see the word launch angle and that's the new thing in baseball is launch angle, and they go, kids, let's hit the ball in the air, without teaching them
how
the proper way
why?
to do it.
Yep.
How and why.
Well, you guys deal with young people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we've all got to. Even at every level, we have to keep it as basic as. It's the KISS method. I mean, keep it simple.
There's nothing worse than teaching a kid to hit the ball in the air. The ball's going to get in the air.
That's failure.
But let's backtrack because we talked about that a couple episodes ago about how they're how coaches are teaching the kids to hit the ball on the ground at a young age. Just because you put the ball in play, you're most likely to get on base, especially at 8U, 9U, whatever it is.
We're not talking ball on ground. We're talking hit ball hard. You win. That ball.
I agree.
Right, but I agree. Where you're going too.
Right, but you hit ball hard. It's going to rise, absolutely, and that's what we've taught Kellen, my son. That's what we've taught him. Listen, you hit your gaps and you put the ball on a line, you'll hit doubles all day long.
Doubles are a nice thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Home runs are rally killers.
Thank you. How many home runs does Kellen have?
0.
Okay. Enough said.
Well,
that's my favorite thing to ask a high school hitter who gets there and he starts spooing something that he paid $60 an hour for 5 years, and then I said, okay. How many home runs you have? 0.
Yeah.
Okay. How many double? Oh, not too many. Okay, so what's working here? And I'm sure that dude was happily taking your $60 an hour. But come on, let's break this down and start where we go. And that's one of the problems. One of the problems, and you guys know this, we are a cage society.
Yeah.
We are cage taught. We are ground balls off turf in a building taught.
Especially in this area.
You know what?
Nothing we can do.
And it's but for what helps this area and another area when we're softball, baseball wise, is we have a facility somewhere to go in the winter if you're into the game, and then that hurts. But it's a double-edged sword because sometimes we're all guilty of overteaching.
Yeah.
Overteaching is I mean, this story totally encapsulates what we've been saying, and I know we've told the story before, but Kellen was playing for a different team, just for fill-in for fall ball, and he hit a ball that nearly got out, but it was foul. The next pitch was a curveball in the dirt. He took it.
Well, he spit on it. I mean, he didn't even attempt at it.
And then next pitch, solid line drive, right center field, beautiful base hit. Like, oh my God, he is listening to what we're teaching him.
Fastball. you hit a ball hard, fastball at their level. Next. Automatically off speed. At the high school level, you hit on a ball hard, and if it doesn't go somewhere, or you foul it straight back, boom, hammer next, straight change your fastball. Usually 99% fastball after that.
Yeah.
Pitchers, are dumb, and just it's a pattern. And or the guy in the dugout doing all this, he's in the same pattern. You hit a ball hard off somebody, the next pitch is going to be something that he doesn't want you to hit hard.
Never going to back it up.
No.
With the same thing.
And I'm double up.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all teaching moments, but everything's things are so predictable sometimes in our game.
And it's funny that you say that because in the dugout calling pitches, there are times where you call a pitch, and then the catcher turns around and gives the sign, and you're going, wait, oh, too late. I didn't want to do that.
Right.
Double in the gap. Every time.
Every time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just overthought the situation, and it happens.
Overthought. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And that's when the coach looks at you like, really? There was 2 strikes, and you decided to throw that? Are you kidding me?
Your arms are raised in the sky, like, dude, you're killing me. And he's going, but you what? Either way, you got turned to being their fault. Yeah. I mean, even though we never wear it anyway.
You misplaced the pitch.
Exactly.
Well, no, that was the one pitch that he actually executed.
A right spot. Yeah. So, no, they're just sometimes they're robots, and they don't have to be, because it's a feel game. You know, we pause after every pitch. Mm-hmm. It's a long, drawn-out process. You have to have focus for X amount of minutes per inning.
Yeah. So you're with John Lester on a pitch clock.
I would prefer. Now, I'm not a pitch. I would like to see the umpire enforce once in a while the 20-second rule. Mm-hmm. I don't want the guy standing behind the mound fidgeting with a baseball, tugging on everything, making sure he gets enough pine tar off this wrist. Or the guys every once in a while. Now I'm the hitter that hates the pitcher.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not. I'm going to, if I have to step back and take a deep breath, I have a system to drive that dude who wants to quick pitch me and get me going nuts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if I have to turn to the blind guy back there and say, look, can I have timeout? Can I get set? You ask your dog who's carrying his cane, and I say it politely, sir, can I get time? No, come on, and
because you got to be polite.
Yeah. Can I have time to get my feet set? Because you tell the pitcher you don't want him to think. Yeah. You want him to react. You want him to know the situation. And if you're calling pitches, you want to boom, boom, boom. You want the just go. Don't wait.
We have a catcher that will not wait for the sign if I'm trying to think it through.
Right.
He will. Okay. He's not giving me a sign. He's not paying attention. So I'm just going to call my own game. And then it takes me 4 innings to get his attention back.
It seriously would do that. It's so funny to watch because you turn, you look at him, and you're like, okay, nope, and then start calling. Let's go.
Try to move on.
I mean, literally that fast.
But that's I like a catcher with a little moxie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And
there's no shortage of moxie with ours.
Good.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And he's been with us for years and wouldn't trade him for the world, but just. It's that ADHD that gets him a little bit. He cannot wait.
Well, but one of the other problems, and it boggles my mind or drives me nuts. I understand you're putting on a tournament. I know that you have games to get in, but don't mess with the time of the game. Don't change your strike zone because you want to get out of there in a hurry. There's a reason. There's a book that says exactly what. Don't be that guy. Yeah. Don't say, hey, if we're getting it, I'm going to start expanding. That's not your call. You're not the judge of. You don't make that
Do
call.
not change.
No.
And I was
change the game.
I went to watch one of Logan's games the other day, or the other couple last year, whatever it was.
The other day.
The other day. It was another day. It was another day.
Just the way you used to take tests. Attaboy. The other day, 4 score, and the other day, Lincoln and a bunch of dudes hung out, I think.
I think he was
Is that right, sister? Mr. Adams, is that correct? Yes. Yes, Mr. Dalton. We'll just pass you and get you out of here.
We don't want you back again next year.
Finish your story. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sometimes it's like shooting fish. You know, you just.
I wouldn't respect you if you didn't. So and we were sitting there, and their team was up to bat, and I sat next to one of their moms, and she goes, "What is your take on that? That's not a strike." And I go, "Okay, it is. If when the other team gets up, it's a strike."
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
as long as it's consistent.
And if it's a strike, it's a strike. If it's not a strike, it's not a strike. But it's not a strike sometimes and not a strike other times. Yes. You know.
Okay, and we've all run across it.
Yeah.
Whether it be in Des Moines, Memphis, Rockford, wherever. Pick a town. Yeah. In Milan, at the Hitman complex. So we've all dealt with it. Mm-hmm. But please don't tell me that it's your duty to get that game. I understand time. I get it. The dude that puts on the tournament is trying to make a buck, or the organization that puts it on is trying to. I get all that, but don't do it at the expense of the young people who worked really hard and are excited about being out there doing it.
And we're teaching them to understand strike zones, and then you're freaking changing it in the middle of the game.
Well,
When that pitch wasn't a strike last time.
I'll pose, isn't every time you guys have practice or a game, is it or is it not, at that age, a teaching moment?
Every
moment.
pitch.
Yeah.
From warm up.
You're learning. They're learning.
Exactly.
Mommy and daddy in the stands got to learn. Shut up. But no,
Good luck.
I know. Yeah, I know. But again, we're all, and it's what turns people off the game. It's why people don't umpire, because crazy parents and
coaches,
kids. Yeah. Well, we're all guilty once in a while.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who among us haven't got thrown out of a 9U game, right?
Amongst us who has not.
Has not?
Has not put your arms up.
I don't know if it was 9U. It might have been 10.
Okay.
And it was it was a Global World Series in Des Moines. My son with the Hitman in the Major World Series, and some dude thought the show was about him.
Oh, it was an ump show?
Yeah, it was ump show. It was based on, yeah. Okay, well, find the belt because it's hanging underneath that big wad that you're rolling around in, big fella. And it was, hey, you going to do this? And okay. So he blew a couple, and you having a tough day, huh? So one more, and you're out of here. I said, okay. Well, they tell me what the one more is. It's hot. So that's all I asked is tell me what I need. And one more word. And I said, tell me the word. So I'm gone. And it was a beautiful. I went out, sat in the van. Not my van.
Nope.
No, it's parents' van. Put my feet up. It was beautiful. They brought me a sandwich. I mean, it was cool. Because once he dumped me, I put on a show. I mean, I had the hat turned and tilted up in his face, and I said, do you realize they're paying you? And I grasped that, but not one of these young people and those people sitting in the stands came to watch you today, Chief, and I made sure everybody heard it, and I made my point.
There's nothing worse than an ump show. There's also nothing worse than a coach who thinks that you don't have the stones to toss him, like I thought.
Well, oh man, you should have seen him go at the. He just went at the umpire, and the umpire was so scared to do it, and then he turned and walked away and said, "Oh, coach, you can leave now."
Beautiful. Oh, he did it.
After I sat down in the dugout, he tossed me.
Did you go back? Were you on the bucket?
No, I was actually in the dugout.
In the dugout, sitting on the bench. I mean, it would have been better had he been on the bucket, but it was
on the bucket outside the dugout because they tell you, hey, put the bucket inside the dugout. Nah,
not happening.
Not happening. Yeah.
There's no way I'll sit in a bucket inside the dugout.
So that's, but we've all, I've been dumped out of pick a level.
And that was a teaching moment for me when I realized I am in fact not Joe Madden, and I tell my players that I'm going to protect them, but that doesn't mean that I have to be an ass. Yep.
And they're 9, and they're impressionable, and they look up to God. They're crazy. They look up to us.
Yeah.
God help me.
Seriously,
insanity. Medicated and committed.
Yep. And they hang on our word. And they hang. And that's
they do.
And I agree. I let them down, even though he was an idiot, but I let the kids down that day because
I wasn't their coach.
I wasn't their coach when they were, and they played hard, and we won, and everybody got, we had I was a fool.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, unfortunately for us, in that situation, I had a pitcher that was an emotional basket case, and he got tossed out. He got called out for not sliding at home when he wasn't warned first. Okay. And it was a legit, he should not have been called out, and I needed him to go pitch the next inning. I needed him to think about something else than getting called out.
Okay.
And I let him go. He kind of looked at me when he walked up to the plate, and I go, all right.
I
got your back. But,
I don't have any kids that I'm going to embarrass right now. So
I get it.
Only the 11 in me. Thank you.
And the guy, the head of the organization, picks up. You're the Glavine call.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your system?
Well, the funny thing was, it was a Hitman tournament.
Of course it was.
So of course.
I've been running out of a couple of those.
Yeah.
A little older though.
Having to explain to Jordan why, it's not a fun conversation.
No, because he's but here's the neat thing about it was Jordan's stepson, Evan Spaghettis, and I'll just name names. When I got dumped, the 2 umpires that dumped me were in the tournament office talking about when they were going to get me. And Evan was in there, and he went straight to Jordan. They dumped me right before we even started the game. And he went, God bless Evan. He went and told Jordan they were planning to get me, and they got me. And So I didn't have to leave the ball. I could go down and sit in the equipment shed, and I had to sit out a game, but I got to come back and didn't have to leave the park. That's, see.
Good.
Yeah. And Jordan, and to Jordan Rangel's credit, had a discussion with the 2 umpires. You know, if you got a problem with the guy and you want to dump him, don't broadcast it. So,
Right?
Yeah.
Just be smart. You mean you want me to lie? No, I want you to make it harder for me to catch you.
Did you know my dad? That's what. Just make it a little harder for me not to make you so stupid. So. But yeah, we're examples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary. And that's, you know, it was that situation where it was like, okay, we had a talk afterwards, and it's like, we have to settle down because we came from ahead to lose that game after I got tossed. And it was like, we have got to relax. And if we relax, then the boys will relax. And they did, we did, and they did. And we started playing incredible baseball for 9U.
Isn't that fun?
It was fun.
And do you ever realize, and I won't, how much time we actually spend with it was my child, but 12 other or 11 other kids that aren't ours who, it's amazing that we do leave an impact.
Yeah.
And
it's an important thing to remember when you're out there.
I'm not good at it. Still not good.
Yeah.
No.
It's hard to come to grips with the idea that your actions are what they're watching and paying attention to, and that's the example that they're going to follow. And it's just like, oh God, that's a scary thought.
You're right.
It's a scary thought.
They think, well, okay, if Coach Marx can pull that crap or pulled that, why can't I? No, it's just.
And it's
And you have to, seriously. And mommy and daddy aside, it's up to us to tell them, hey, that's not right. There is a deportment area that comes with the game, and I didn't like the way he was handling himself, but it's a respect thing not for anybody else, but for the game. And if you enjoy or love the game as much as I think we do, then we owe the game that much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you can teach the boys, I messed up.
Yep.
And I'm willing to admit that I messed up to you right here. Then you can admit to me when you've messed up.
Yep, and we'll all move on.
Yeah.
And we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll go back to the pool and have
Yeah,
and mommy will get all liquored up. One team mommy will get all liquored up and fall in the pool. So
that's always a fun time. That's why you coach. That's why you travel, not coach.
Yeah, no names, but I used to. We'd play in Des Moines all the time. It seemed like forever, and I would have to come back to the Quad Cities to do a MediaCom broadcast. I do River Bandits games on TV, and go to Des Moines, drive back, and then drive back for the whatever time you played on Sunday.
Wow.
Usually, if you're in a winter's bracket, it was 1 o'clock. So that group was lucky enough that we always played in the afternoon. And no matter what, I would always get drunk texted from and they're friends of my wife. I mean, my wife's standing next to him. I drunk texted from 2 moms on the team in the middle of a broadcast, and I would never forget to turn my phone off, and it'd start beeping. So here you are in the middle of a Midwest League baseball broadcast, and your phone's beeping, and you're getting drunk texts from 2 moms about to jump in the pool with their clothes on. No names.
No names.
No, but I'll tell you guys off
the air. Off the air. Write it down.
Yeah. But it always happens. And that's if the kids don't. I mean, they're impressionable kids.
Yeah.
But that's what kind of makes the travel part of it kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Or kind of fun sometimes. The different personalities, they can be strange, but the different personalities that we deal with.
The part that really struck me when it's like, man, I thought I was just coaching baseball. You know, I didn't realize, like, I just helped his team out 1 year just going over basic pitching mechanics.
Yep.
And then one of the kids that I didn't really talk, you know, he walks up to me after he got done pitching. He's like, I just got done pitching and blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
Isn't it cool?
Like, it's a really crystallizing moment when you realize they are paying attention.
Yep.
And they are.
Oh, boy, do they.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
They may not act like it right at the moment,
No.
but they're taking it all in. And
Yep.
My son will still bring up stuff. I mean, he's 15 and he's in high school and still brings up things that, teaching moments from people around the game who he respects, but things that went on, say fastball breaking ball sequence. Dad, I remember when I was 10 years old and we're on the road and you guys didn't let us throw curveballs and there's some 6'2" kid from Omaha, blowing 78 off at 46 feet, and Dad, he missed a fastball and I timed it up and moved it. Then I knew the breaking ball. To still tell you that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool
I
stuff.
know it's coming. I'm gonna see a breaking ball, Dad. Boom.
Yeah.
Sit on it. And if you swing that breaking ball first pitch, I'm kicking your butt.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another teaching moment. But yeah. So. Cool.
Yeah, we it's the most rewarding thing that I've done since I got done playing is watching them grow.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it's the I've been working with this kid for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he finally gets it, and he finally does what he's supposed to do, and he's at first base with the biggest smile you've ever seen on. You're going,
can't pay for that, Chief.
No,
can't pay for that. No doctor, no shrink, nothing will ever make that.
And then you got these jackass parents that make it unbearable sometimes, and that's why we're doing this. It's like, you think you're doing it for your kids, and I get that, and I understand that, and if I didn't think you didn't care about your kids, we would be having a different conversation. But you're hurting them more than you're helping them.
Yep. Well, okay. Take that a step further. What percentage of that group is going to cash a check?
None.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just. Or
That's just the numbers. I mean, that's just the way it is.
It's the way the game is. But how many of those young people could, doctor, lawyer, would just throw out a profession that is, every profession is honorable if you decide to get up and go to work. That to me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But just how many leaders in society might you be teaching?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's scary too. Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
No, I'm teaching all my kids. All of the kids that I'm coaching. I'm teaching them to go to the pro. That's all I'm
That's the
coaching.
only thing we're hearing. Yeah, it's either a check or nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to happen.
Hit the ball in the air. Come on.
And make sure let's practice our bat flips.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Didn't we all have that practice? So were you?
Who gets paid and doesn't bat flip? I mean,
Who does?
who gets paid but doesn't bat flip? Nobody.
Nobody.
That's why we work on
That's
it.
why you got to have one day where you got to throw every rule out.
Yep.
You let them wear shorts instead of practice pants. Put their hat on backwards for 15 minutes, and then
hit the ball and try to hit the ball out of the park, and that's fine.
Yep.
And then work on your bat flips.
That's it. You always once in a while get in with them. Instead of running them, let them bat flip it,
Yeah.
and that's
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it
Never
is.
thought about that.
That's a good. We'll end the practice that way.
we do. That's if and you know this from. If we make them run, and I'll use our high school team, if we use cutting first base, going to second, cutting second base, going to third, and rounding third and coming home as cardio work for that day, we'll let them bat flip.
Yeah.
Let them, because we're going to work them the first step they take, so let them have a little fun before they have to run. And you do 7 or 8 of those, kids, you got their attention.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Yeah.
have a little fun with it.
And that's the thing, we can work in cardio other ways. We can work in conditioning other ways. Doing rundown drills. That's so
perfect.
important that nobody teaches.
Their tongues are hanging out. I love it. Yep. And people, first and third, rundown drill. It drives me nuts that the fake. I just want to. I want to attack the. I want to. Yes.
It's a room full of coaches, and you have that one thing, and we all go, oh.
So and until they realize when the ball slips out of their hands, or you show them that even big league. That's one of the problems with the game. Big leaguers are horrible at A, sacrifices, and B, rundowns.
Yeah.
I mean, finally,
These
guys can't bunt.
They're the best kid. They're the best players on the team. Their entire
you can't
life.
Bunt. Mm-hmm. And that's it boggles me. You played shortstop, pitched, bat third.
Well, since
You can't bunt.
Since we're on the topic,
you brought it up, and that was one thing that I brought up to him that I wanted to ask.
As a youth coaching podcast, when we're talking about what we need to be doing for our boys,
Okay.
what are you seeing deficiencies coming into High school baseball.
Do you know how to slide?
What?
They have no. It's pathetic. Don't know how to slide.
Oh my God.
Can't bunt. Have no idea the concept of right-handed hitter ground ball through the 4-hole, left-hander ground ball through. Seriously, guys. And I'm not.
Basic stuff.
Yeah. Get them over.
101.
When you're getting them over, get them in. You got to swing it. You have get them over with a strike. It has to be a strike.
Yeah.
Okay. Get them in. Drive the baseball. When the guy. Your job is you have to make sure the ball is put in play, hopefully with authority, with the guy at third.
Move
If
the
you
baseball.
just fungle the ball to second base or shortstop, it's a quality at bat, and that guy scores. You can't get punched out. You have to put the ball in play. Do you know how to squeeze? I mean, that's
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
It's hard. When the
Sometimes
time
it's
to squeeze,
sometimes it's a bad pitch,
Right.
but we got to get it down.
got to get it down. And so that's it right there. And we all see it at the high school level. And I'm taking no one to task, but I run across kids that arrive as freshmen that can't bunt. Can't bunt for a hit. Well, they pivot as if they're scoring around. You don't know how to bunt for a hit, get the barrel out around the baseball, and if you're a right-hand hitter and bunt the ball down the third baseline, or take that a step further if you don't know how to take a drop step and push it to the right side to beat that out. They should be taught at 7,
Yeah.
8, 9. Every 7-year-old should know how to pivot at a 45-degree angle, and I like using bending your knees as your leverage there to change your level instead of flat barrel out open.
Yeah, I can't stand the flat barrel.
Well,
We're working on that tonight.
That's college, and I get it. But when you're talking about young people, it's so much easier to slight pivot, drop the back foot, and 45-degree, and just because you can handle. And anybody that teaches them to hold their hand at the bottom and use kids don't know how to use the bottom of a baseball bat as their guidepost. You have to slide that hand up at least 2 inches. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, back to the original question. Sorry. They don't know how to bunt. They can't sacrifice, can't bunt for a hit. When they get to the high school level, they think it's okay to take when you're just down there at third base having fun. Okay, like we've all made the sign of the cross. We're Catholic. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's that hit and run.
Yeah.
Okay, that right-hand hitter, your job is to hit the ball on the ground through the 4-hole. Mm-hmm. Left-hand hitter on the ground through the 6-hole. But the worst of all is sliding, fellas. They don't know how. And they have so much fun at 8 and 9 or coach pitch. It's just everybody slide. When they first learn how to do it or first do it as kids. And I remember with my own son, okay, they learned how to finally get on their butt and not be afraid.
That's a fun practice.
Yes. And you teach them pop-up slide at second base. And then, which is hard for young people, you teach them, to dive and slide by and tag at home, which is hard sometimes. It's really to show them, or to hook slide, because I will promise you there are, and I'll use the freshmen where I coach. Probably we have 17 freshmen where I coach high school baseball, and I can safely say 14 of them don't know how to hook slide at the plate. Now, can they dive and reach by and or dive at the plate? Heck yeah, but you break fingers that way.
Yeah.
No one teaches a pop-up slide anymore, and that's
What?
Oh my goodness!
That's all I taught.
I thank you, but
I'm not because I can't stand watching a kid slide into second base, a ball get in the outfield, and you're
boom.
laying and you're
laying
freaking
there
laying there
on the
on second
side.
base on your side.
Oh, thank you. But that's
With the hands up, like, hey, look what I did.
Hey, I'm safe. Yeah, you should be at third.
third. Thank you. Okay. A lot of kids don't know how to cut the bag at first.
Oh,
And, okay. Or
We have entire practices.
we
on that.
did.
thank you. Or
It's just-
belly and make that cut at third. So
To round the bases is baseball 101.
And that's
That's stuff
I was
you-
fast, and so I knew how to run the bases.
Exactly.
And that was one thing. Like my
I
son,
was slow, and he taught me how to
well,
run the
I
bases.
get that. But so that's something like well, my point is
pretty
that's,
well.
that's something that I focused on with
Right.
the kids at 9U. Because I'm getting them, and they're running
huge.
down first, and then taking this wide turnaround first to go to second. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, when
They
you-
don't know-
When
okay.
as a
Yeah.
first base coach, you send them, and you go, you should have been there, but they ran 6 miles that way. How did it take you that long to get there?
okay. And while they're at second base, I guarantee you, of the 17 young people I just talked about, there's nobody that taught them to gauge your outfielders when you're at second base. How deep is the right fielder? How deep is the center fielder? How deep is the left fielder? Can he throw? Can he throw? Can he throw? Did they watch them in warm-ups to see if they could throw, and if the ball will a soft humpback liner get down because the right fielder's back? If he hits the ball hard, can I go here? Where? Can I break on a baseball because I know the depth of where they are? Who's going to throw me out? Or not?
Who should I be testing? And if they make a perfect throw, they make a perfect throw and I'm out.
And don't leave. Here's the thing: you have to teach them at a really young age. Don't leave that to chance for your coach, because you can see the depth of where they are. Make a decision. You're okay. You're an athlete. You're out there.
As a coach, how often are we wrong?
I can't tell you the number of times that I've sent or haven't sent. I'm like, stop.
You know what?
Okay, keep going.
I'd rather get them banged.
Yeah, I would too.
And I used to use this analogy, and it got me in trouble because I made fun of slow pitch softball players. Because I'm a Harper guy all my life.
Yeah.
So in slow pitch softball, I never stopped at first base. Again, I'm not, of all the guys that play, I'm not making fun of anybody.
I agree with you.
Never stopped at first base because B, you have a non-baseball guy in right, center, and left somewhere, because the only usual baseball guy is probably the shortstop. They have to pick it up and throw a dime to second base, or if I'm going from first to third, they have to make a perfect throw. They can't.
And dude has to catch it.
I can't.
There's the other thing.
Yeah.
Catch it
I can't tell you the number of times that I've tagged up on a ball to left center from second to third.
and go.
I just do it.
Yep. It's just,
I was thrown out a few times, but.
We lack in teaching our young people. Teaching, okay, that, and they should get every rep they can to pick up a ground ball. They should get but there are teaching moments where some basic stuff that they need to know to be prepared.
Yeah, and it's nice to let them fail in order for them to learn.
Oh, I've made sure they failed because I've got them thrown out 1,000 times.
Yeah. I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago. We talked about 3-0 hitting, and I'm a proponent of letting them swing on 3-0, and sometimes that's going to end up in them swinging at a bad pitch, and they're going to get out, but they're going to be able to file that away and understand what pitches we are looking for 3-0. I'm going to get a good pitch there probably.
So we're proponents of not ever giving a take sign.
Have you ever seen the eyes of a young person when you give them the green light on 3-0? It's like Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, good Lord, you just. I was that kid, and it never happened. But go ahead. Yeah, because if there's one pitch he's gonna throw down the chute, there it is.
Be that.
That's something we see so much. There's so many win first coaches now that just take the walks, just get the W, and it's like they're 9, they're 10.
Thank you.
Let them learn how to win the right way.
I always based success on when helping coach young kids was. The worst player on my club, how much did he improve? Not the best, not the best 6 or 7. How did the kid that, we don't know. We'll find a way to get him in the ball game. Well, for sure he's going to play on Saturday. We don't know if he's that Sunday afternoon kid. But you know what? We'll see, and we'll give him an opportunity because you can hit as many as you want.
Yeah.
So tell me how that young person progressed from the beginning to the end, and that's how you mark the strides you made.
Yeah, and we decided to step down last year and move over to this new organization. And our last tournament of the year we were playing with 8, and the kids at the back of the roster just ended up rising to the occasion.
Is that fun?
And now
it was so much fun.
It really made us rethink the decision. Like maybe we are doing good here.
Oh, I bet you. I'm sure you are.
We ended up
and are.
Yeah, with 8 players, we ended up taking second in
Isn't that fun?
state. With 8.
See. But 8 committed. 8 committed.
8 committed.
That's.
Yep.
And you see the kid that
drama-free. They just went out there and they just played.
A committed drama-free weekend from children and parents and etc. It's just you find out, and I'm not getting cornballish here, how beautiful the game. I mean, how neat the game really is.
Yep.
Well, it's really fun to see the kid where you're going. He's going to melt down in T-minus 6 pitches.
Yes.
And you see it starting to happen, and then you see him course correct himself, going, "My team needs me too bad right now to do this."
I just got chills thinking about it.
I literally just got chills about it.
But that's the word that the average Joe might not course correct.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, he's self fixed. Whatever you want to pick any analogy you want. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
that's the beauty of watching kids grow up and play the game.
And our first episode is entitled "The Click Factor," where we talked about watching the boys click. and you seeing them, that little correction where they're going, that didn't feel right. Why didn't that feel right? Because I did it this way instead of the way I've been taught.
Good point.
And they understand now, okay, that's the way I used to do it, and that's not correct, and that feels bad now. And just the little where they start to get it. And that's what we do this for.
You know what? You know when you can tell you have, and maybe you see this differently. I don't care if they're hanging out at the pool or they go somewhere for a movie. I don't care. I want those kids to be engaged and friendly warming up. That's how you tell, in my opinion, that's how you tell you have kids that are in it together.
Mm-hmm.
Was how they treat each other while they're readying themselves to play the game, not what happens when they have free time.
Yeah.
You can hang out at the pool and have all the fun you want at that, or do something, but how they treat each other warming up, how they treat each other at the ballpark, how they get along before they get to the car with mom and dad, that tells you a lot about how the strides they make or how well they get along.
Yeah.
For sure.
No doubt. I mean, that's something I preach to my kids. It's a game of adjustments, and you guys got to learn to make those adjustments on your own. I can't be in your ear every 2 seconds telling you what adjustment you need to make. You've got to learn to identify, okay, what happened there? What do I got to change? And as soon as that light turns on in their head, it's really fun to watch.
It's very cool. And there's some days we just, even at any level, you just need to sit on the bucket, shut up, and let them go.
Mm-hmm. That's the fun. That's the fun of it.
When it's just, okay. Or, and you've got the guy with the magnetic board. I love those for young kids because they're all going to play. He's the guy that will switch one kid's playing third one inning, he's going to play left field the next inning. You know how the little tag.
Yeah, the magnetic board. Yep.
Those are a beautiful thing.
They are.
Because you're going to come in, I'm not playing first base. I'm playing third now. Or that. Yep. I think that's huge with young people.
Yeah.
Because at the high school level, you walk into my program or the program that I'm associated with, and I ask you, what do you play? And the best answer, not shortstop, not third base, whatever you want me to play, coach. Mm-hmm. That's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah.
I can do anything you want because they've been taught.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask is, do you see a lot of kids that come up? I mean, that was part of the question as far as what are they lacking or whatnot. Do you see a lot of kids coming up that don't know how to play outfield? Or,
yep.
And that's the biggest issue.
Because
they're the best talent.
The best talent. Got to win.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that Sunday at 4:00, which my son's team was a Hitman kid, was fortunate enough to spend a zillion Sundays at 4:00.
Right.
I mean, that was the beauty of getting to play with them.
I would have given my left arm to not play one game at 8:00 in the morning.
Exactly. I mean, you know what?
Didn't matter if we went 2-0 or 0-2, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Your Hitman team, 2:00.
Yep.
Excuse me, 8:00. We're tired of losing to you.
Yeah.
Let's see you. So then it was 8. Then it was noon, and then it was a championship.
Yeah.
But I don't want that kid to play shortstop. I don't care if he's the best. Do I want him to be my shortstop? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want him to play third base? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want him to play first base and second base? At least have a working knowledge of how to take a drop step on a fly ball, catch it over the proper shoulder, take her out and throw the baseball to the right guy, cutoff wise.
Yeah.
And if he's a shortstop, he should know which guy that is.
Exactly. So again, the kid and I want my worst player playing third base or shortstop in it might be that Tuesday night league game. Or maybe not Sunday at 4:00.
Right.
But I want him in that position once a week, maybe twice a week, where the game is important to everybody, but he wants to be the guy in the middle or second or short. Everybody, I don't think there's a set position and there really isn't one until you get to high school, and then it really isn't that way, fellas.
I was going to say, high school isn't even, in my opinion, high school shouldn't even be you don't get pigeonholed. The only reason you would get pigeonholed is, and we talked about this, but if you're a lefty, and I use the words a little bit bigger.
Center field, first base.
Yeah.
Or left field. Yeah.
Or left field, yeah.
Yep.
But
no.
You got to teach them outfield.
It's huge. And because nobody wants to play it.
Right.
And the other side of it is, again, when you get to the high school level and it happens everywhere, not just in our program. What position you play?
Shortstop.
Well, no, you don't. Because I got 3 of them over there.
Yeah.
The other, or
I got 8, and nobody knows how to play the outfield.
thank you. And I want you to tell me. That I want to hear from that young person. And that's, if I ever tell my son anything, wherever you want me to. Put me there. I've already played it.
Coach, will you teach me how to play the outfield?
Yep. Help me.
I love when a kid comes and asks me for help.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than
better.
staying after.
Yeah.
And you got the fast packers who are gone.
Yep.
Yeah, because mommy, she's got the keys in the van. And it's,
With the Diet Coke ready.
Yeah, oh yeah, you gotta go. Lose your little Gatorade, pumpkin. Let's go.
Yeah.
And there's two kids that say, hey, can I have some extra reps? And they're out there, and it's all business for 15 minutes, and you have a little fun. But there's nothing better than to be asked to give somebody extra reps.
I got a little fired up the other day at practice when we were doing the do or die, field the ball on the outside of the drill, outside the foot drill, and kids would boot the ball and then go to the end of the line. Okay. No.
Oh yeah. You lost it. I had to turn away like, whoa.
We are not going to the end of the line. You didn't do it right. You're doing it again.
You know what? And we're
get
never in that big of a hurry to get through the drill. If you map out a drill that you want to run 15 minutes, and it goes long because so something else, you stay an extra 10 minutes, or you cut something else short. You have to teach them.
When you get to high school and you do that, the high school coach is going to notice that you did that.
You understand?
And your ass is going to be sitting next to him on
Why
Saturday
do we field
afternoon.
regular balls inside the left knee? Why do we open a glove, etc.? Or we never take a knee fielding a ground ball in the outfield? Never, ever. Because if I'm a first base coach, guy's going to second base.
Yeah.
So never allow. So, little things.
I agree.
Things. Yep.
I agree too.
Yeah.
But we're teaching that this year.
Yeah.
Not to call out our coach, but that's what he wants to see.
What?
Taking the knee to field the ground ball.
To make sure it
Good.
doesn't-
Can you ask him to let me coach first base against his team?
Well,
The first ball in the outfield, the kid takes a knee, gone.
Well, and we talked about that. Let me coach against this, where he's talking. There's organizations that pay college kids to come and coach. Will you please let me coach against a college kid that's playing baseball? That's there half the time because he's playing his own game.
Yep.
So you got a dad that's not equipped to coach anyway. Can you let me coach against that?
Yep.
Please.
I have a perfect example. Name me the best post player in the Big Ten right now. And he's from Milan.
I got nothing.
Ethan Happ.
Yeah.
Ethan Happ played at Rock Ridge High School. Finest young person I've ever dealt with in my life. Still, never forgot where he come from. Had great skill, one of the finest young people I've ever talked to. Ethan would take a knee, played right field for Rock Ridge his senior year. We went to second base 6 times, and I thought he was going to cry. He took a knee every time. We went to second base, and here you just embarrassed as good a basketball player as there ever been in our area, who's going to Wisconsin on a full scholarship to play basketball, and he decided to play baseball in the spring, and he's never been frustrated. And by the 5th or 6th time, and his arms were in the air, and he'd had enough for the day. But we never stopped because Ethan went to a knee.
Yeah.
So that might be his most frustrating athletic moment ever, which he's had maybe 2 in his life. He's such a great player and a great kid. But and again, one of the finest young people I've ever. But that might have been his toughest athletic lesson, as gifted as he is.
Yeah, and it's a tough lesson.
And I struggle with going to a knee.
Yeah.
I do too.
I do
and this
too.
is I was an outfielder in high school, so I
you
struggle
get it.
with it too. Maybe a handful of times I did it just in the outfield, but I was a center fielder.
I wouldn't even.
I knew where the ball was. Just make sure it doesn't
Everything's
get by
in
me.
front of you.
That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
But
I would
if
mind
it's-
it less on turf because that ball's bouncing a little bit differently.
Okay.
You can be there and knock it down maybe a little bit more efficiently.
It skips a little faster.
Yeah.
Then I would suggest working your angles, your banana curls a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And that inside drop step and open that shoulder to try to combat that.
And we go through the 6 F's of fielding all the time, which is feet, field, funnel, feet, fire, follow through. And you can use that on turf as, that ball's not dying in the grass.
No, it's not. It has an extra skip to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we solved the take a knee problem.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we did.
Well, we're kind of up against it, so I want to get to the tournament that we're going to talk about. So
Thanks for letting me talk about it.
Oh, thank you for coming to talk about it.
This weekend, the Allman High School, it's a service project, which you're familiar with.
Yes, very, very much.
And that's one of the things that the neat and unique things about the Catholic high school that I get to coach at is young people have service projects. And the Kohn family, who had a son, Megan and Moose Kohn, I've known for 20 plus years before they were even parents. They had a son who was born with a heart defect. It was like you had a rear left tire that kept going flat.
Yeah.
And
I actually have a rear left tire that keeps going flat.
So left ventricle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's pretty good. Excuse me. So the Kohns, they fought it. Eventually, they realized that Will and doctors said was going to need a heart transplant. So it got to a point where the heart was everything was breaking down around it. Will got sick. They sent him to the Stead Family Children's Hospital. You know, the Wave at Iowa, in between the first quarter of football. Well, he was the first patient there. He was in on it. That was for him and Coach Ferentz and his wife and the granddaughter that they lost. So that said, Will worked just perfect kid, and eventually he knew something was going to happen, but heart gave way, and so he eventually got a heart transplant and got an opportunity to come home for Christmas a year ago, and got sick at home. They had taken him back to Iowa City, and they found out he had cancerous tumors throughout his body. So, and Megan and Moose, wonderful people, chronicled Will's struggles, and the story was told in USA Today. It was been told on every national news of this 7-year-old boy fighting. Finally they got a heart. Well, that means the 7-year-old had to lose their life, or comparable, for Will to get his heart, and then the worst happened. So, went back to Iowa City. He fought gamely, and last January 27th in 2018, he passed. And and the Kohn family and Megan and Moose, they're salt of the earth, wonderful people, but they had, you guys understand,
bills up the wazoo.
Yeah, before, and we're talking the heart transplant, the surgery alone was 18 hours, $1.2 million. So think about that. And eventually they got to and he's a teacher at Pleasant Valley, and she's a teacher's aide in Pleasant Valley. But eventually they had to go Medicaid because bills were astronomical. And so there's been fundraisers. There was people have been amazing. So to make a long story short, when Will passed, they were friends of mine. Will's godfather is my son's godfather. His name is Jamie DiApril, one of the finest men I've ever met. We asked them, we would like to have a baseball tournament. We were going to pay. All we were trying to earn was enough bus money for our kids to have an overnight trip to fundraise a service project to go play at Lensfield last spring in Springfield, in Jacksonville. Okay? That's all we wanted. Anything else we made, we were going to give to the Kohn family. So they were okay with it. You know how nobody wants to take anything. So we had a huge turnout. It was a fun time. And so we took the check over to them, and they do as they please with the money. And so then later in the summer, I sat down with them. And I hadn't seen him in a month or so, and we were over at my son's godfathers and Will's godfathers, and we started talking about they'd like to establish a scholarship in Will's name for a science teacher, which is someone for science in college, and something for medicine to understand what happened, or why is there a birth defect, and what went wrong with this poor 7-year-old child. So that's this year. We're going to give them the money, so do it please. But we think that they're going to put it toward what they probably will, the Will Scholarship Fund at Pleasant Valley High School, which is actually open, to seniors all over the place. So starting Friday, from 5 through 10 o'clock, we'll play. We kept it to 7 through 10 this year, and then we got a phone call from Will's godfather Jamie asking. He coaches the Quad City Rage, if they could play the 13 UAs because they had so much fun last year playing them. So now we have the 12U Barnstormers, those guys, and the Hitmen have been phenomenal, the A's have been phenomenal, and we have 13 teams, and we'll play Friday, and we'll start at 8 o'clock Saturday and play till 10 o'clock Saturday night. Just everybody gets 3 games, and they get to do it off hit tracks, any ballpark. You guys know the laser. It's pretty cool.
Oh, so it's just hit tracks. It's not
just,
actually like a field tournament.
No, it's this weekend. So it's inside hit tracks.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's,
I know the TBK has fields inside.
Right.
I didn't know if
not
it was
big enough.
They're not big enough.
No.
Okay.
All
so
right.
That one. Yes, we and the rent at Fielder's Choice is a little cheaper than it would be to have the whole weekend.
Yeah.
No disrespect to TBK, but
Right.
and Dave Vandergens has been wonderful. But there are hit tracks leagues. My son's in the hit tracks, and so it's pretty cool to see a 7-year-old playing at Williamsport because you can play in any field.
Yeah.
The computer can put you at any field,
Yeah.
and you put it adjustable to a 7-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And he's hitting bombs. And we had one game last year that was 32-31.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, and you guys know this. Your season is this far away.
Yeah.
I mean, you're close, and it's a great weekend. They can wear the uniforms. We take photos and send them to Megan and Moose Kohn, and we have concessions, and it's just it is parents, and we put them right next to the net out at Fielder's Choice, and they're into it. They're cheering for their kids. There's seats there. The kids are into it. I've never seen them have as much fun. And you know what? It's going to be 25 below.
Yeah.
And we're going to be inside having fun playing baseball.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you came in here and talked to us about that. And
Thanks.
that's one thing that we do as a podcast, and we're not making any money or getting any donations yet, but what we're planning on doing is having a charity that we're donating to, whether it's once a month or once every 2 months, changing it for the kids that don't get a chance to come and play baseball for us.
I know what you mean. Yep.
It's it started with the baseballism, their rally ribbon initiatives. We're like, we need to give back to the community or wherever to these charities. So we're definitely going to
That's very
look
cool.
at the Will Kohn Foundation. With some local like that.
Thank you.
So that's without a doubt.
Yeah.
Just if and Moose, and his name is Chris, but we call him Moose. He's from Dyersville. Megan's from Monmouth. They are small town, hardworking, never asked to be in debt like that.
Yeah,
But they would have gone, and you guys all understand.
Yep.
If it would take $1 million to save your child, you'd spend $5 million.
Yeah.
And we've all, and there's not enough. And they did, and they went to the wall to try, and
it's people like that in trying to save their child would feel selfish knowing that another 7-year-old had to lose their life to save their kid.
That was Chris's phone was whatever. God, it was Motley Crue, something the heart, whatever the Motley Crue's "Be Still My Heart" or something like that. When that rang, that was the he had a special ringtone when that was the donor. No, it was A exciting, B sad because you had somebody else lost their life and he got a new heart. I mean, he was doing great, and then
just that one
too much
gut
to
punch
fight.
after another.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you ever had a chance to spend 5 minutes with Will John Kohn, you would know that it was okay. I mean, there was fight in him until his last breath, and his parents weren't afraid to tell people that he was going through it, and I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, he's and that's heartbreaking, but at the same time,
Makes me hug the hell out of my 15-year-old.
Yep.
All three
Even
of
when
mine.
he's a screwball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Because he's still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You hit him upside the head, and then
Yeah.
2 minutes later, you give him a hug.
So you knew my dad. That's.
I probably learned from a little guy.
But that's and we're doing it in an environment. The Allman kids, they're working it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a service project for them. We get to
And
practice.
what better way to spend your service time that you have to
Yeah.
graduate
And the
is
other-
playing baseball.
Exactly. And the other side of it is they get to they'll front toss every team that comes in. We'll have a group of players that takes them off to the side, tee work, front toss, and 2 guys will be with every team, not cheerleader-like, but making sure that they enjoy the game together. So
That's awesome. Like, I'm disappointed now that we're not in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In all honesty.
Screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, we did. But,
we'll continue. This is something that just won't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So especially if the scholarship, if
too
the Kohns
good.
can open up the scholarship to kids outside Pleasant Valley High School, why not?
Yeah.
So
It's too good.
So,
awesome. And there's stuff on Facebook, right?
Yep.
That
In fact, we get pairings today. Come out, please. It's going to be cold. We encourage you to come watch. We have had some wonderful donors for the the seed money to put this. I'm not allowed to mention his name, but he's one of those. We all have one of those guys that you can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, this needs to be done," and and he's that guy.
Good.
So, pretty good. He used to own a car dealership. That's all I'm saying.
that's all you need to say.
That's all I need to say. Great guy.
Excellent.
Can you stick around?
Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're
All
gonna
right,
do another one.
we'll-
On that note, we'll
We're gonna wrap this up.
wrap this one up and
Right.
move on.
We'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So make sure you check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/uncoachable, website
Uncoachablecast.com.
Podbean.com, Podbean.uncoachable.
No, uncoachable.podbean.com.
Okay.
And then we're on
Coach-
YouTube.
Coach
Find us
Lance
on
is the
YouTube.
IT guy, so
I
he
am
knows
the
all
IT
this.
guy. So find us on YouTube as well. We're out there. Uncoachable Podcast. That's a search bar you can do. I don't know how to link it yet. I'm still working on it.
I'm still thinking about Will.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I hear you. All right,
Anyway.
John. Thanks for coming out here. We'll get back on for another one to talk more baseball.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Really do.
Well, thanks for coming. We appreciate you. Definitely. See ya.